Hey guys, this is Vishan from USA 4x4. So I think based on the title, you know, it's a little rant regarding the Fords. And just before I move on, I'd just like to say that whatever I say, it's my opinion, my personal opinion based on whatever I've worked on and whatever we have fixed. It's also that it's just for the Malaysian market, so that's all I can speak for. I can't speak for the Australian side or even the Thailand side. So whatever I'm speaking about is for Malaysia. Now, with that out of the way, so I told you guys I'll make a video regarding the Ford Ranger Raptor, the 2.0 bi-turbo car that we are rebuilding the engine. Mileage on it is about 47,000 kilometers. So this is the one of the first batch of when they launched the Ford Ranger Raptor in Malaysia. So this was one of the first batch, the grey color one. And so a little background on it. I think these cars were launched, they already had a problem. They had an injector problem. So there was a recall of sort. I mean, this car supposedly was brought back in and it had its injectors replaced. Or we would assume that all 4 injectors were replaced. Now, this was done somewhere around the 10,000 kilometer mark, while it was still under warranty by Ford. So it was done. And obviously the owner, you know, he had it, he didn't clock a lot of mileage on it. He doesn't really use it, but when he does a lot of long trips for it. Fuel wise, he only fills up with Euro 5. So that's the highest grade we can get here in Malaysia. And Malaysian fuel diesel is relatively quite good, I would say. If you're in the town area and all, it's not really a problem. So we don't have any fuel issues. Now, this car, throughout the ownership, it had a couple of problems. You know, it had a lot of sensor issues, and it, even for something of such a I would say very little mileage, it was giving a lot of problems. But the owner was okay. You know, he had a few vehicles. He was the type of person who enjoy 4-wheel drive. So he has already built a few cars with us. So he was fine with it being like had a bit of downtime. You know, so it would be either one of a fuel sensor or something would go, and then he would need it to get replaced. Now, long story short, we had also done a bit of mods on this car where we put on a canopy and we did tires and we upgraded the brakes, but that's about it. So it's very simple stuff that we did for the car. So just like recently this year, he was driving and then all of a sudden he hears the car goes like puff of smoke, and then it's done, and then the entire car is shaking, and then he just kills it. He switches off the car. So the thing is, it could have been turbos, it could have been anything, we didn't know at the time, but we did do a compression check when the car came in to us, and we discovered that piston 3 had no compression. Cylinder 3 had no compression. So what we did was we took it out. So there's a piston here. I'm not sure if you guys can be able to see it. Let me see this focus. You will see a hole basically. It's right there. There's just a hole that went through the piston and then cracked all the way to the side. So now again, I'll remind you that the mileage on this vehicle is very low. The injectors were supposedly changed out, but when we actually pulled out, we realized that 2 of the injectors were still, I mean, they were different. They were in a different age in compared to another 2 injectors. The cylinder 1 and 2 had, I would say, newer injectors than cylinder 3 and 4. Maybe it was different age one, I don't know. But based on the record, it was switched out. So basically, why the piston as a whole, there was an injector failure, and we did a random test on the injectors, and it caused the piston to go. The thing is, this car, it's beautiful. Even drivetrain wise, that means the axles, you know, and everything, the suspension, it's awesome. It's an awesome vehicle. It looks awesome. Interior's good. Seats are nice, you know, but I think it's just flawed. That's going to be my opinion. It's a very flawed vehicle that I think until today, that engine has still not been really fixed. Another thing, it's very high strung. So you are trying to push. So when it came out, basically you're matching the power of what the 3.2 previous Rangers with had the 3.2 engine, what those engines could push out. So that's what now you're pushing out from factory. And then engine aside, so here I have the gearbox oil pump. So this is fine. So these are the teeth. So these are all fine. But this is from the same car. Basically, we swapped this out with there's another gear set, an idler gear set that goes in the gearbox. So we swapped all this out because that's another thing with the Ranger. It's been known to have gearbox failure, and this 10-speed has this failure. So there's no recalls for that in Malaysia as far as I know. I could be wrong, but as far as I know, there's no recalls for that. So about the and the car is at that mileage, at about that 50,000 mark. Some people get it at 30,000 mark, where the oil pump for that gearbox just goes bang, and then metal bits everywhere. So you know what else do you expect? So for me, would I advise anybody buying this vehicle to go for it? I mean, I can't. As a person, I don't want to see my car constantly in a workshop. As an owner, I definitely don't want to see that. And you spending that kind of money, and then all the car does is sit in a service center or sits in a workshop. And the hardest thing about this was, thankfully we sent the block to machine shop. It actually didn't damage the block in any way, so that was a good thing. But unfortunately, you can't get pistons. So you actually can't get new pistons. I'm like, and this car is what, 2019, 2020 already, so it's at least what, 4, 5, 6 years in, and you can't get new pistons. I'm like, how? You can get head gasket, you can get all the seals and all that, no dramas, but you can't get new pistons. And there's two versions of pistons, so these are the aluminum ones, and then I think the newer gen bi-turbo models have a metal one, an iron one. So yeah, but I think both of them you can't get. I think Ford just wants you to purchase a new short block or something. So that is what. And we with this engine, what we're doing is we managed to source for second-hand pistons. Look, the owner isn't in the greatest mood. This car has been on a downtime for quite a while, but we're going to still build it back, give it back to him. We did the gearbox, hoping that there's no further issues. And when the car runs, it runs beautifully, but when it doesn't, it's just catastrophic. So for me, my advice is be careful, stay away from them. I personally drive 3.2 Ranger with the 6-speed gearbox. When it first came out, that's what I got. So this was about 2012 model, and at 150,000, I just decided to pull my engine out for fun and see if there was any damage. And no, until today I run 530 oil on mine, and it's pushing massive power output from that. Turbo's been done, injectors been done. I've got PWR coolers everywhere, and it's on 40-inch tires with all the driveline done, so ratios and everything to match. And I've done 50,000 kilometers on it extra after the 100k, at least 50,000 odd, and still no issues. So that was a good platform, but I don't think the current one is. It looks good, but it's just something that I would personally avoid. So what pickup would I go for? Without skipping a beat, I would just pick the Hilux. If we service a few, and honestly, that's all we do. We just service them. The only issue in Malaysia is it's a theft rate. So if you park outside, you better be sleeping in them. That's the only issue with the Hilux. Regardless whether it was the 3.0 1KD, the 2.5 2KD, or even now the 1GD, the 2.8. The 2.4 I'm not too familiar, but the 2.8, no dramas whatsoever. So yeah, that's a car that I would recommend. The other pickups, I think the D-Max is alright, but they're still with the 4JJ engine. But it's a nice overall car. The Mazda just copied it. The Navara is for me too dated, wouldn't bother. And yeah, the Mitsubishi is, I don't know if the chassis is any better now, so correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if they did any improvement to that, but I think powertrain wise it's alright. So and that's the thing, you see. And then so why do people keep going back to, I've got Land Cruisers 80 series that have done 900 over 1,000 kilometers, and these cars still run, they're still on the road, they're 30 over years old. And funny enough, I just gave back a 105 to a customer, Nick, and he was saying, down the future, like down the road, like maybe in 2027 or 2028, once it's done with his 105, maybe he wants to build up 80 series. And we are still talking about vehicles that are 30 plus years old, because yes, they're still a lot more reliable, and even when there's all that kind of, and even when they leak everywhere and things like that, they still run, they still get you home, You don't leave your family stranded by the side of the road. And I think that's something that Ford does. So I personally dislike them. I don't like working on them. You don't get me wrong, I'm pretty good with the computer, so I can search up things pretty good, and I can even do a lot of the diagnosis. It's not a problem. It's just they're not very nice cars to work on. Everything is integrated, so you can have one failure somewhere else, but it will still be a problem elsewhere. I'm gonna stop rambling. I hope you guys enjoyed my opinion regarding the Ford. I think the next one will be the more fun things for me, building cars. So I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you so much for putting up with me, and thank you all for the support that you give on all the social media channels. Thank you so much.